Hi everyone, welcome to the part 5 video of this series Angular JWT Authentication. Now on JWT token express, we have to invoke the our refresh token API, right? So let's first invoke the or implement the API call in our auth service. Okay, go to auth service. Okay, here let's create one new method for invoking the refresh token API. Okay, refresh token. Okay, this is my API call. Just just go to our GitHub link of Nest.js, so you can find the URL and the payload. So to this payload, my intention is I have to send expired access token and refresh token. Okay, some cases they won't send expired access token. They just send refresh token. Okay, depends upon how your server API works. Okay, so that means I should have a payload which is of type my token model. Okay, so now return this dot http dot. So this will be a post method and it's going to return new access token and refresh token. So same model. Okay, and copy the API call. And second parameter will be the payload. Okay, this is our API call logic. Now to test our sample, let's change the expiration token in the server project. So I'm going to my Nest.js application. Okay, and you have to go to the inside of the src auth folder. You have to go to the auth module.ts. Here you can see sign in options and expires in 1800 seconds. That means 30 minutes. So what I will do, I will change it to 60 seconds, means 1 minute. So within 1 minute, my JWT access token expires so that I can test easily, right? Now what I will do, just stop the server, okay, and restart it again. Okay, server is up. Now go to our Angular website. Okay, try to log in without test credentials. Okay, and also open the developer tools for network calls observation. We click on login. Now go to movies. Okay, and now let's go to home page again. Now wait for 1 minute and click on movies menu item. Okay, so I think 1 minute completed. Let's click on movies menu item. Okay, no content is appearing, and if you see here, it is 401 unauthorized. But here, if you observe, our login credentials are gone, right? So what I will do, one small correction. Let me do in auth service. In previous video, we have created get access token, right? Okay. So here we are returning the access token, right? So here there is a line of code like we are checking for token. Best suggestion is don't add this logic like checking the expiration and emptying the profile. Okay, because we want to use the refresh token benefit, right? See, once the token expired, automatically all login information is gone. So that logic is not ideal here. So just remove that logic. Okay. Now let's. So anyway, our token will be stay in our network application itself, local storage session here, right? And we have refresh token. So now we have to utilize the benefit of the refresh token. Okay. obviously we must get a new access token and refresh token based on the re refresh token that is available to us. Okay. So now the thing is uh, how to do that. Okay. So we know JWT token is adding as a authorization header by the JWT module, right? We have discussed it previously JWT module, but invocation of refresh token it cannot handle. So we have to handle it. That means to handle the uh, to handle the our invocation of refresh token API, we must create a interceptor. Okay, so let me create a interceptor. Ng generate, and this interceptor is like global, right? So I want to create it in the store, and let me create it like a class. So in the shared folder, in the auth folder, I want to create my interceptor like auth token interceptor. Okay, I don't want any test files. So let me add skip test. Okay, now successfully interceptor is created. So let me go to my interceptor, auth interceptor. Okay, currently it is a simple plain class, right? It should be an injectable service. So decorated with injectable. Okay, and implement HTTP interceptor. Okay, and it should implement a method. Okay, we have to implement this intercept method. Okay, so what we can do first, let's try to fetch the token data from the uh, local storage. Okay, so constant local storage token equal to local storage dot get item, and I saved with a key like token. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can check in auth service where so tokens. Okay, first we are trying to fetch the local storage tokens. Okay, and let's create a variable like token model. Sorry, token model. Okay, and check whether the local storage contains tokens or not. Okay, so if we have tokens in our browser local storage, then convert them into that string. We have to pass it into our JSON token model type. Okay, so local storage token as token model. Okay, now here we have to check for the token is expired or not. Okay, is token active? Okay, means not expired. Okay, or else let's check directly is token expired. Okay, true means expired. Okay, now we can use JWT helper, right? Okay. Now here I can inject JWT service directly here. Okay, but if you recall auth service, I haven't injected the JWT helper service. I directly initialized. That is because this auth service, okay, this auth service using as a dependency in this auth service, sorry, in this JWT module. So if I inject, okay, instead of declaring here, if I inject private JWT helper equal to JWT service, if I do like this in auth service, then it's going to throw circular reference. Okay, since because we are injecting our auth service into JWT module here, and the JWT helper service which is inside of JWT module, we are again injecting back to our auth service. That will create circular reference. That is the reason I haven't injected it into the constructor. Okay. But here there won't be any circular reference issue. So that's why I can inject here. If you don't want to inject, also not a problem. You can create object directly like this. Okay. But when we have opportunity to inject something, okay, that means object can be created very efficiently than creating manually by us. Okay, here Angular itself injects. So whenever you have a chance to inject, please do same way. Private JWT helper and JWT helper service. Now I can use this to check this dot JWT helper dot is token expired. To this token expired, we have to pass our access token. Okay. So is token expired false means token is still active or not expired. Okay. So if is token not expired, then we no need to do nothing. Means token is active. We should not change anything within the request. At the time, what we can do, we simply allow the natural request flow. Okay, we won't change anything of the request flow. Like this, you can return. Okay, next else. Else means token expired. In that case, what we have to do? Let's inject the our auth service private auth service Okay, here just call our refresh token endpoint. Refresh token. Okay, and we know payload, expired access token, and refresh token. I need to pass it. I have the token model data, so I can directly pass it as a payload, right? Dot pipe and use switch map. Okay, and switch map receives new response from our refresh token endpoint. Okay, so here now what I will do? Let's store this new token response back to our browser local storage. Okay, so this switch map will receive the response from the refresh token endpoint, and the new data must be stored back to our local storage. So key will be tokens, and we have to stringify it. JSON object JSON.stringify and pass our new tokens data. So here we saved it back to our local storage, latest data. Now we have to update our user information to our auth service user profile observable so that it will again refreshes the object. So we have to refresh this behavioral subject here as well. Okay. So where user info equal to this dot JWT helper dot decode token. Okay. New tokens dot access token and convert it as token model. Sorry, not token model, user profile model. Now this dot auth service dot and user profile observable dot next and pass our user info. Now after refresh token, when will this endpoint invokes? For suppose if the movie API requested, this interceptor get executed. and this interceptor it will check for the token. If token is not expired, it will proceed normally request. If token expires, the movies request will be halted, okay, for some time halted, and refresh token, new API call triggering here. So once new API refresh token, which is a new API call successful, we will get the new access token, refresh token, and we again setting them back to our browser storage and updating the user profile info. Now again, I need to resume back my movies API call. Actually, my main API call is movies API call, which is halted for some due to the expiration of token. Now I have to resume back my movie API call. So for that, what we can do, if I trigger now from this here the movie API call, JWT module cannot automatically, sorry, in the app module we have JWT, and we know that the JWT module automatically adds the authorization header to every request, right? But the request reinitiated from our auth token interceptor will not add authorization header. So in that case, we have to manually add the authorization header before it's going to hit the server. So here, like transform request means like new request. So this request contains originally our movies API request. So here what I can do, req dot clone, okay, headers, req dot headers dot set, okay. Here we are manually setting. Key, the name is nothing but authorization header, authorization header, okay. And token. Token, we know JWT barrier token. First, it should have barrier, okay. And next, we should have our token. So here it is a dynamic string, right? Use backticks, not double quotes, backtick, okay. Now here we have new tokens dot our access token, okay. So now for movies request, we are manually adding the request header. This is one special case within the interceptor. We must add authorization header because JWT module won't intercept it any further. Okay. Now return next dot handle and pass the this newly created request. Okay. Transform request. Okay. That is how we have to do. For suppose if some exception occurred from the API, refresh token API, then we have to catch the error. Okay. We have to catch the error and we can return throw error. Okay. Directly to the request initiated. Okay. So did I added within the, I added within the switch map. I think it should not be inside of the switch map. It should be inside of the pipe. Yeah. Okay. And it should be ended with space. So here we need to do something like, so this catch error when will occurs whenever our refresh token fails, means when the user submitted some invalid refresh token or even refresh token must be expired. Okay. At that case, we should remove local storage dot remove local storage dot remove the tokens from the browser, and also we must set this authorization server to null value. Means we have to make our application logout because refresh token also invalid token. And then we must navigate to home page. For that, let's inject the service private router service. Okay. So here this dot router dot navigate to home page. Okay. So this is how our uh, interceptor look like, but here all the code not returning the data. Okay. So here we have to do one more conditional check. This flow should not execute for few API calls like login as well as refresh token should not go through all these token checking. So for that we have to initially avoid them. If request dot URL dot index of, okay, request API URL. If it is login API. If it is a login API, a checking URL contains login as well as or either login or request dot URL dot index of our auth token URL. So let's copy this string and check for it. Okay, in these two cases, I don't want to execute all this code. So at the time, I simply return here. Especially, we should check refresh token. If you don't do this, it will go for infinite loop because refresh token always tries to fetches the new access token continuously. Okay, so this condition should be added. And finally, our code must execute within this logic. If it crosses this logic, means there is something another error at that time, you can simply return error, invalid request. Okay, now all our code returning something. So let's go through the interceptor again. If it is a login or refresh token, we won't disturb the request flow. If any other call like secured endpoints like movies, first we will check for local storage and fetches the, okay, and we check whether token is expired. If the token is expired means not active, then also we won't disturb the request flow. If it is expired, then we invoke the refresh token API. Once we got new token response, we again redo our normal login flow like storing the tokens again back to browser storage and updating the user profile object. And now, and finally, the actual request, okay, something like secured, which is stopped for some time due to expiration of token, that should be reinvoked. Here we are this request contain that object. Okay. So we are reinvoking our API call and it will go for normal call. Since we are manually reinvoking, JWT module don't have any control over it. It won't add authorization automatically. Okay. If the logic execute in this flow, JWT don't module don't add the authorization header. That is why we are manually adding. Okay. We should add this interceptor into our service register into our service provider, then it gets activated. Okay, so go to app module. So here in the provider, so provider name is http underscore interceptor. Okay, and use class we have to pass our auth token interceptor. Okay, and multi true. Okay, Now we have registered our interceptor. And here small correction. I haven't checking the index length. Okay. Okay. Now let's test again our JWT refresh token, how it gets invoked. Okay. Login with test credentials. Okay. Wait for 1 minute so that token gets expired. So you can see refresh token API invokes, then again our movies API call gets invoked. Okay. I think 1 minute completed. Let's click on movies menu item. We are getting data now. Previously we got 401 unauthorized. If you check the network calls, see, instead of favorite movie calls, refresh token API is invoked. Why it is invoked? Because in the interceptor we are checking for the token expiration. If the token expire, refresh token gets invoked. Right here, what we are doing, we are in this else part in the return, we are invoking the token. But how? Again, after immediate call of favorite movies, how it is get invoked? Because actually favorite movie is the original request that is halted for some time due to expiration of token. So that is halted, and in meanwhile refresh token is invoked. So we know if the new refresh token API we got, then what we are doing in the logic, we are again at the end, we are re-invoking the our original request, nothing but here in our case favorite movie. So that is success since new refresh token, access token are available. Okay, so that is how we have to handle whenever the token expires while consuming the secured endpoints. Okay, next we are going to implement the routing guards. Why? Because if I try to go for login page, in spite of I am uh, logging, means in spite of I am having a token in my browser storage, still I am able to accessing the login page, which is not correct one. So what we will do, we are going to implement the guards, routing guards, okay, to avoid the only if user is already authenticated, we should restrict him accessing the login page. Same way, if user is not authenticated, we should restrict him accessing the secured pages. Okay, next we are going to implement that. I hope this video has delivered some useful information to you all. If you like my video, please do support me by subscribing to my channel. Soon we are going to meet with new videos. Until then, signing off.